What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about accessories, my favorite accessories for the Galaxy Z Fold 7, and these are all things that I use oftentimes in my day-to-day life, and because of that, you're going to see my personal preferences represented clearly in these recommendations. For instance, I can't stand gigantic, bulky cases. So when we talk about cases, you're going to notice that they're all very slim cases. So when you're asking, why hasn't he reviewed anything bulky and thick to help with major drop protection? It's because I don't like those. So I'm sorry, these are just my favorite accessories. Hopefully, you'll get some benefit out of it anyways. So we're going to start off by talking about some of the cases and skins, or skin in this instance, that I have tested. This is my D brand leather skin, and as you can see, after a couple of weeks, it is developing that really nice, rich patina as the oils from your skin sort of will soak into it. It starts to look really, really nice. I've recently just peeled it back off as I was testing a new case, but I absolutely adore these D brand leather skins. I get asked all the time where I got it from. It's D brand, and it's about, if I'm not mistaken, about $35. Now, there are some cheaper options on the market. There's a website called Soapy Guard, or Soppy Guard, S-O-P-I guard.com, and this is a skin that is on my Surface Duo 2 that is meant to look like leather, but it is a fake leather skin, and it is a lot cheaper. These guys, their skins are basically exactly like D-brand skins, but with some different patterns, and they tend to be a little bit thinner. I think that they're made by 3M, so the quality is quite good, but again, they are cheaper. So if you want to go with something a little bit cheaper than D-brand, check them out as well. So you guys know that I've already talked about this case from Banks, and this is another aramid fiber case. It does have the Magsafe ring, and it also does have the hinge protection on it, which I think does make it a pretty solid option for the Z Fold 7. You can see there how it covers up that hinge, and as you open the thing up, it just sort of slides out of the way, and it actually kind of acts as a grip, a way to kind of hold on to the back of the device, which I think is actually kind of nice. Now keep in mind, this magnet is slightly off to the side. You can see this with this little grip here, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. And that's not a mistake. That's actually where the charging coil is in this device. So everything is sort of slid off to the side just a little bit. Now that's good because that's where it should be, but it can also kind of lead to some problems when it comes to battery banks. I've got a couple of options here, one from Ugreen that's 10,000 milliamp hours and another one from Pitaka that is 5,000 milliamp hours. And as you can see on this device, we have our Qi magnet. When it wants to, like, the place it wants to be, or that you would want it to be, I should say, is kind of like this. But because of the position of the magnet, in order for it to really lock into place, it's going to kind of have to be at like a diagonal angle because of that camera bump where it is sitting. So it's kind of a bummer. No matter which of these you use, you're going to end up being sort of off to the side. We also have this option from Thinborn. It actually does come with the front piece as well, although I don't have that out with me right now. It's just a front piece that goes on the front. It looks exactly like this. This also has the magnet in it, but what they did is they put the magnet more in the center, and what that's going to do is it's actually going to allow these battery banks to latch on the way you would expect them to. And as you can see, it is charging. So you kind of have to wonder, like, well, what's the trade-off? Why would you not do this? Well, since it's slightly off-center, you do get the use of the battery bank, but it's going to be less efficient because it's not lined up quite properly. So you might not get the full benefit of this 5,000 milliamp hours, but it is at least going to be lined up in such a way that it might actually be comfortable to use it. So maybe you can handle a little bit of additional heat from that misalignment. That's something you kind of have to decide for yourself, but I thought that it was worth mentioning. And then last but not least, we have this Moonrise Aramid Fiber case from Pitaka. I actually just got this one in, and I really like the way that it looks. Typically, there's actually like a metal ring around the camera bump, but I actually removed that because I wanted to see if their battery bank would fit better without it there, and the answer is no, not really. It kind of still wants to be about there to really connect strongly. You can actually kind of like lift it up onto the camera bump just a little bit like that, and it actually still holds on pretty good, but yeah, still not quite perfect. Something that I'm going to add to this really quickly after actually using this case for about a day that I started to notice, and we're kind of going to compare it to the Binks case to show what I'm meaning. If you look here where your buttons are, look how far the case sticks out relative to these very slim buttons. This case, no real problems at all. And this is probably going to be such a subtle difference. It's really going to be hard to see this, but this one actually just sticks out just a little bit further than the other cases. It's not a ton, but if you see here, it's sticking out pretty far beyond your fingerprint scanner, and that it's not like a huge problem, but when you're pushing that power button, you're sort of pushing against the case as well. This is probably really not coming through very well at all on camera, but I just wish that this was shaved down just like maybe like 2 millimeters would have made it perfect. But nonetheless, a really solid case that I like the look of a lot, and all your MagSafe accessories, generally speaking, should work. So there are plenty of options for screen protectors out there. I know that Samsung has a film that is anti-reflective, but the one I decided to go with, as you can see kind of installed on here, is from a company called Wesken. I'm not exactly sure if that's how it's Wsken. That's like an unpronounceable name. So we're just going to call it Wesken. And the reason I like it is because the installation process is like completely foolproof. It's one of these ones where you have the screen protector in this little guide thing, and you just set it on top and you pull. And when you pull this thing off, it slides this bit across the screen and basically wipes it clean. And if you're like me and you absolutely despise installing screen protectors because you always end up with some little piece of dust or something underneath it, this is amazing. This is foolproof. Literally, just wipe your screen down, make sure it's clean, don't really think too much about it, stick this on, pull it out, and you are going to have a flawless screen protector installation like every single time. I used the same brand on my Z Fold 6, and it's great. So the cases I showed you all had MagSafe compatibility, and one of the big reasons for that is when it comes to a big device like this, something that can open up into a tablet, it's really nice to have a grip. But this device is so thin that, yeah, you're probably going to want a thin case, or at least I do, something that's not going to kind of defeat the purpose of this thing being so thin. But then your grip also needs to be really thin. This is the Tango Ultra Thin Grip, and look at that. It adds almost nothing to the back of the device. And the way it works is whenever it's on, you press right here, and it just sort of pops out with this sort of springy mechanism, and you can just slide your hand in there and continue using your phone. I'll kind of show you like that. It's really, really nice. And when the device is opened like this, you can see how useful that could be. I'm not even touching the device otherwise. It's really nice and stable. The magnet is strong, and when you're done, you just pop it back in, and that's all you've added to the back of your device. Now, if you want to just quickly add MagSafe compatibility to the back of the device and go no case, or maybe put a skin on top of that, this is a really good option to go with as well. It's from a company called ESR, and it's just a little MagSafe ring that is adhesive. You stick it to the back of your device and you're good to go, and it's $9. So unfortunately, your $2,000 phone no longer comes with the charger in the box, which is kind of a crazy thing that we have all just accepted. I'm going to show you 3 different chargers from Ugreen, just because I really like Ugreen's chargers, and some of them are quite strange and entertaining. This is probably like your most just kind of like utilitarian charger. It's a 45-watt GAN charger, and you can see that it's got 2 charging ports there on the top. I've used this one for a long time, and it is very, very good. If you want a little bit more personality, they do sell these weird little chargers that are also GAN. The feet pop off, and there is your plug, and when it's plugged in, a little face appears on the screen there, and they're not super expensive. I think this basic one's like $20. The one that actually has 3 different charging ports in it is a little bit more expensive. This is a 65-watt charger, so I've used this thing to charge laptops and all kinds of things like that, which is crazy for just a fun, silly-looking little robot charger. And then in terms of cables, I still really like this cable here that has a screen on it. When you plug it into your device, it'll actually tell you what the charging rate is. I guess I can just demo this. I've plugged it into a battery bank that is nearby. We'll plug that in, and you can see that it'll pop up, and it'll start telling you what the charging rate is for what's happening. I really, really enjoy that. Great for testing. As I'm sure you've seen in some videos from someone like Mr. Mobile, there are people who are crazy enough to take this phone, set it up in a stand, and then use with it an actual mouse and keyboard. And it's really not too bad of an experience. And then you can also talk about Samsung DeX as well. So having a nice mouse and keyboard to use with your Z Fold 7 actually does make sense. And the one that I've been using here lately has been this Logitech Pebble setup. As you can see, both of these are fairly low profile. One of my favorite things about them is both of them can actually pair to 3 different things at the same time. And you can just toggle between the different things that you are actually paired to very, very easily. The key travel is obviously not like amazing on this thing, but it's still a pretty decent typing experience. It's relatively small and lightweight, and I think that it's a really good option for what I'm describing. Now, if you want a keyboard that's a bit easier to bring with you, look at the size comparison here. This is a really cool one. Now, full disclosure, this keyboard is no longer available anywhere. This thing is so old. But there are about 1 million companies making this exact keyboard. I don't know why I thought that was upside down, but I did for some reason. There's a bunch of companies making this exact same keyboard, so you can get it just under a different brand. As you can see, it folds over twice and just becomes extremely small. And the typing experience is really not half bad. The only downside is most of them charge with USB micro, which is definitely a little bit annoying, but the battery life is pretty good. And if you want to kind of complete this set, the best mouse you can pick is still the Microsoft Arc mouse. This thing is so small when it's collapsed down. And then when you want to use it, you just bend it, and that actually wakes it up. And then that's your mouse. And this thing works shockingly well. I have used this thing for so long in these sorts of setups, and it continues to be one of my favorites. While we're talking about sort of productivity-related things for this Z Fold 7, you guys know that they did get rid of the S Pen compatibility, but you can still kind of use a pen. Now, this is a pen that, if I'm being honest, I don't actually remember where I got it from, but I have found a pen on Amazon that looks really, really similar. This one is actually cool because one side is an actual ink pen. Be careful not to use that side, but this side is a capacitive stylus. It's got this little flat surface on it that kind of can be wiggled around, and the point of this is that you can use it on any screen, okay? It works on any touch screen you want to use. So no, you're not going to get back your S Pen compatibility, but you can absolutely use this pen. You can see here my terrible handwriting, but it works, okay? So like if you absolutely have to have a stylus of some sort, you can get something like this. Now, I know a lot of people actually do gaming on devices like this. I'm going to include 2 controllers that I think work really, really well. Both of these are from GameSir. We have the Galileo, make sure I'm getting this name correctly, the Galileo G8, and this is the X2S. Now, the Galileo is a bit more expensive and a bit more premium, kind of just like a more traditional controller shape. But it's got one disadvantage. The side that the USB-C port is on makes it such that when it is installed, the screen sort of hangs off the bottom. The other one, the G2S, has sort of a smaller layout, but the USB-C port is on the other side, so the screen sticks up out of the top. Both of them, though, are really quite good. I love that both of them have this mobile USB-C port so that you're not stressed about straining that USB-C port when you're actually plugging the thing in, which I can just show you kind of how that goes. You can just sort of plug the thing in and it can move around, and that's fine. It's not going to cause a problem. Expand the thing out, close it down on your device, and now you've got your controller in there and set up. You're just good to go. Just loaded up Minecraft, and you can see that it's working perfectly right out of the box. The controls are all just there. And obviously not all Android games are going to support all controllers just right out of the box. You might need to kind of do some research into what games you play and do they support controllers. But as controllers go, this is a really good one. And what I love about this layout is that you can then have the game playing and then throw like YouTube up top. And now you've got a video playing up top while you are getting some gaming done, and it's going to work pretty darn well. I love both of these options. And I guess I should show you this as well. This is the other controller. Not a fan of that stuff sticking down really low, but the joysticks are actually larger on this one. So if you're playing like a shooter or something like that, this might be a better option if you're okay with that. Another really cool option for this device is this Maxit 15-inch touchscreen monitor. As you can see, my phone is plugged in and we are running Samsung DeX, and it basically has its own little stand that acts as like a folio case as well. Like I mentioned, it is touchscreen, so you can do all of these sorts of things, and it works really, really well. If you're a big DeX user sort of on the road, this is a great option. And then if you want to take things to a really interesting place, how about this tiny little projector from 8849? You can plug your phone into this and project whatever is on your screen onto the wall, or if you have a projector screen, that works just as well, obviously. As you can see here, we have Samsung DeX displaying through that projector onto this screen. Now, typically, you can use this with just your phone and a cable, but for some reason, I was having a hard time getting it to work without an external battery bank. Typically, that battery bank is only necessary to get the maximum brightness, but I did end up using one for this setup anyways. Just something to keep in mind. I'm not exactly sure what to make of that, but if you want to have this kind of experience with your Fold 7, definitely one to check out. For these next few, I'm going to show you just some listings here on Amazon because it's a little bit difficult to show you this stuff in general. We're talking about car stuff. I drive older vehicles that do not have Android Auto, and I am totally fine with that because I've always got a folding phone, and I just mount it there in front of me, there in the middle, and that works really, really well. And there are two phone mounts that I have used for years. As you can see, going back to 2020, I have been using this one in my Toyota, and it goes into the CD tray and expands out, and you just have your phone in there. It's $14.99. And now recently, I have been using this one. Same brand, same sort of grip for the actual phone itself, but it uses the little suction cup instead. You can see here how I have this mounted inside my 2004 Honda Element with 200 and almost 50,000 miles, still cruising along quite happily, and it works really, really well. And the cool thing is this can expand or contract. It can fit a normal slab phone if you want to do that. It's just a really, really great option. And this one's $19.99. As far as a car charger, which I think is a great thing to have a good one of, let's go back to Ugreen again for $22.99. This one is 63 watts of total charging. So that means with some decent likelihood, you're going to be able to charge your Z Fold 7 and your partner's phone, whoever else might be in the car with you at the same time quite happily. So guys, like I said at the start, everything I've just talked about and everything in the list in the description is a product that I have gotten my hands on and used, and most of them are things I've used quite a bit, so I can actually recommend with some confidence. If you've got some killer accessory for the Fold 7 that you think everybody needs to know about, drop a comment down below and share that with everybody, please. Otherwise, check out that list down below, and remember that pretty much all those links are affiliate links. And of course, that means if you click on one of those links and then you make a purchase, it does pay me some commission, and it's a great way to help support the channel. Guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.